Welcome to my channel Limelight Leaks. Please share and subscribe, and hit the bell icon for latest updates. I got in a little trouble last week. I've had that in the back of my mind for probably 25 years, and I finally did it last week. And for years, Wayne Carini was the person people trusted most in the old car world. On his popular show, Chasing Classic Cars, he was the calm, caring expert who could find a rusty treasure in a barn and make it look amazing again. He seemed honest, real, and free of problems. But behind the shiny cars and friendly smile, a different story was happening. One filled with shocking court cases and broken friendships that would threaten to destroy everything he had ever built. Made in the garage. To understand how it all went wrong, you first have to understand the story of Wayne Carini. His story was the American dream. Born from oil and steel in a small Connecticut town. He was born on October 13, 1951 in Portland, Connecticut, into a family that had gas in its blood. His father, Bob Carini, was a great car fixer and a soldier from World War II who had gotten a Purple Heart Medal. Bob owned a crash repair and car fixing business in Glastonbury. And it was there, among the sparks and the smell of paint, that young Wayne's life was shaped. From the time he was a little boy, Wayne was in his father's shop. It was not a fancy life. He swept floors and cleaned car parts for just $5 a week. Every day after school, while other kids were out playing, Wayne was learning the hard work of fixing cars. He cleaned, sanded, and hammered metal, learning the job from the ground up. His father taught him that hard work was everything. By the time he was in third grade, he could already take apart a Ford Model A engine and put it back together perfectly. This was his world, a place of fancy cars like Duesenbergs, Lincoln, and Packards. Weekends were spent traveling with his father to car shows, which felt like big family events, with picnic lunches and games. Then when he was just 9 years old, something happened that would change his life forever. On a family vacation, he got to ride in a brand new 1960 Ferrari. In that moment, feeling the power and seeing the beauty of that car, Wayne was hooked. A lifelong love for Ferraris and all fancy cars was born. His father saw this spark in his son's eyes. Bob would sometimes take Wayne down to Greenwich just to look at the amazing Ferraris through a store window. Wayne briefly thought about a different life. He went to college and planned to get a degree in building design or maybe become a teacher. But the call of the garage was too strong. After Wayne graduated, his father made him an offer he could not refuse. Bob Carini, who died in 2016 at the age of 93, gave his son a gift that would set the path for the rest of his life, 50% of the family business. Wayne accepted, and his future in the car world was sealed. He went on to start his own companies, including Continental Auto and Carini Coachworks, and the one that would become famous F40 Motorsports. This was the foundation of his empire, a business built on the values he supposedly learned from his father: honesty, hard work, and a pure love for cars. It was this wholesome backstory that made people trust him. It was also what made his later fall so shocking. Building an empire. With his father's business as a starting point, Wayne began to build his own empire. He learned the art of Ferrari fixing from the best in the business. His teachers were legendary people like Francois Sicard, a former Ferrari racing mechanic, and Luigi Chinetti Jr., whose father had opened the very first Ferrari dealership in the United States. Learning from these masters, Wayne became an expert in his own right, known for his incredible attention to detail. His reputation grew, and soon he was working on the car collections of the rich and famous, including David Letterman, tennis great Ivan Lendl, and members of the DuPont family. His 3 businesses in Portland, Connecticut were doing great. F40 Motorsports became the go-to place for buying and selling rare vintage cars. Continental Auto specialized in repairing high-end fancy cars, and Carini Coachworks was where the magic of restoration happened. This success brought incredible wealth. As of 2020, Wayne Carini's net worth was guessed to be around $25 million. This fortune came from the sales of classic cars to his rich clients, and of course from his television career. He lived a comfortable life with his family in a rural Connecticut log home that he built himself over 3 decades ago. He married his wife, Lori, in the mid-1980s after they met when she was one of his customers. Together, they raised two daughters, Lindsay and Kimberly. To the outside world, he had it all. A successful business, a loving family, and a massive fortune. But what was the public face of this empire? It was a TV show that would make him a household name. Chasing a Dream on Camera. In 2008, Wayne Carini's world exploded onto television screens with the start of Chasing Classic Cars. The show, which aired on the Motor Trend Network, was an instant hit with car lovers. Unlike other car shows that were filled with fake drama and scripted fights, Chasing Classic Cars felt real. It was simply about one man's passion for finding and fixing beautiful, forgotten cars. For over 10 years, viewers followed Wayne as he traveled the country, digging through dusty barns and secret garages to find rare car treasures. The show was a quiet, interesting look into the rich world of car collecting. Fans loved Wayne's calm, smart personality and the real excitement he showed for every car, whether it was a $1 million Ferrari or a simple family station wagon. The show became one of the most successful on the network, proving that you did not need explosions and arguments to make great television. But behind the camera, the reality of reality TV was not always so simple. To make the show more exciting, Wayne would sometimes have to play up his interest in certain cars for the cameras. And the high-stakes world of car auctions, a frequent feature on the show, was not always as straightforward as it seemed. Hidden fees and other costs could cause buyers to pay thousands more than they expected. These were the small, accepted truths of making a television show. However, this carefully crafted image of a simple, honest car hunter was about to be broken by a series of real-life dramas that no one could have written. A warning shot in the dark. The first public sign that something was wrong in Wayne Carini's world came in 2011. It was a problem that started small, but showed a much bigger issue with how his company F40 Motorsports did business. A client had bought a beautiful Lamborghini Gallardo. The original ad for the car clearly said that it came with a special luxury luggage package. But when the car was delivered, the luggage was missing. The client thought it would be a simple fix. He contacted F40 Motorsports to ask about the missing items, but he was met with silence. For 2 whole months, his calls and emails were ignored. The salesman who sold him the car was no help. The client grew more and more frustrated. He later said he felt the situation was complete fraud and accused Wayne of not having the spine to face the problem himself. Feeling like he had no other choice, the client hired a lawyer and filed a lawsuit against Wayne Carini and F40 Motorsports. Suddenly, after 2 months of being ignored, things started to happen. The client got an email directly from Wayne. In the email, Wayne claimed that the car's previous owner had just found the luggage package after it had been sitting for a week. Soon after, a package arrived for the client via FedEx. Inside was the missing luxury luggage. But there was something else in the box, something shocking. It was the spare key to the Lamborghini. F40 Motorsports had told the client the car only came with one key and had refused to give him the spare. The client later said he would have been willing to forget about the luggage just to get the spare key, but the company had refused to help him. The case was eventually settled out of court and the client got what he was promised. But the damage was done. He shared his entire story on a social website for Lamborghini lovers called Lamborghini Talk. The story showed a side of Wayne Carini's business that no one saw on TV. It showed a company that ignored its customers and only acted when threatened with a lawsuit. And this pattern of ignoring problems until they exploded would soon lead to a much bigger, more damaging scandal. The $1 million lie. If the Lamborghini incident was a warning shot, the battle over a 1934 Pierce Aero Coupe was an explosion that blew a hole in Wayne Carini's reputation. This was not about a missing accessory. This was a decade-long legal war over a rare and valuable car that dragged Wayne's name into a messy story of fraud and disputed ownership. The case known as Richmond vs. F40 Restoration LLC exposed the dark side of the classic car industry, a world where a handshake deal can go wrong and the history of a car can be a tangled web of lies. The story began with a man named William Robert Richmond, the rightful owner of the rare Pierce Aero. Richmond trusted his car to a restorer named Joseph Dixon. He paid Dixon to work on the car and store it. But Dixon did something unthinkable. Without Richmond's permission, he sold the car. The classic car world is small and vehicles can change hands quickly. The Pierce Arrow was sold to another company, Gullwing Motor Cars, before it eventually ended up in the hands of Wayne Carini's F40 Motorsports. When Richmond found out his car was gone, he started a legal battle to get it back. The lawsuit named everyone who had touched the car along the way, including F40 Motorsports and Gullwing Motor Cars. This put Wayne Carini in a terrible position. His company now possessed a car that was at the center of a huge ownership dispute. In the classic car world, a car's history or provenance is everything. Trust and integrity are the most valuable things a dealer has. The honorable thing to do would have been to work with Richmond to return his property immediately. But that is not what happened. Instead of helping the rightful owner, Carini's company and the other defendants fought back in court. They argued that because Richmond had trusted his car to Dixon, who was a merchant of cars, Richmond was the one who bore the risk that the car might be sold. It was a legal argument designed to let them keep the car, but it came at a huge cost to Wayne's reputation. To the public, it looked like the friendly car hunter from TV was fighting to keep a vehicle that belonged to someone else. The court case dragged on for years, creating a dark cloud over Wayne and his show. Fans and viewers started talking about the lawsuit online. The man who was trusted to honor the history of classic cars was now involved in a scandal over a car with a fraudulent past. The court eventually saw through the legal arguments. On June 18, 2020, a judge ruled in favor of William Robert Richmond, ordering the car to be returned to him. Wayne Carini was never accused of stealing the car himself. He was an innocent buyer who got caught in a web of fraud, but the way his company handled the situation was a disaster for his image. By choosing to fight in court instead of doing the right thing from a start, he allowed his name to be connected to a stolen car scandal. This legal battle showed that his business was willing to operate in a gray area, putting a potential profit over clear-cut integrity. It shattered the image of the simple, honest car lover and replaced it with that of a shrewd dealer. The lawsuit left a permanent stain on his legacy, a stain that would never wash out. The friend left behind. While the Pierce Arrow lawsuit was a battle over money and metal, the next crisis to hit Wayne Carini was about something far more important. Friendship. For 13 years, the heart and soul of chasing classic cars was the chemistry between Wayne and his master mechanic, Roger Barr. Wayne was the finder, the man with the eye for a rare car. Roger was the magician in the shop, the one who could bring any engine back to life. Their partnership seemed genuine, a bond built on a shared love for cars. Fans loved their easy friendship, which felt real and unscripted. Then, without any warning, Roger vanished from the show. One episode, he was there, and the next he was gone. There was no announcement, no farewell. Fans were left shocked and confused. Rumors began to fly. Had Roger retired? Was he sick? For a long time, there were no answers, only a strange silence from Wayne and the show's producers. Years later, Roger Barr, then in his late 80s, finally broke his silence and told his side of the story. The truth was heartbreaking. Roger revealed that he had been dealing with serious health problems, including a bad injury at the F40 shop that required surgery. It was during this difficult time in his life that his career on the show came to a cold and sudden end. He was not given a phone call or a face-to-face meeting. Instead, Roger explained that he received an email informing him that he had been involuntarily terminated. The shocks did not end there. Roger also disclosed that in all his years on the popular TV show, he was never paid a single extra dollar for his appearances. He was only paid his regular salary as an employee at F40 Motorsports, even as he became a beloved television personality. To make matters worse, after he was let go, he had to hire a lawyer just to get his tools back from the shop where he had worked for so long. The way Roger was treated felt like a deep betrayal to many fans. The warm, friendly atmosphere of chasing classic cars suddenly seemed like a lie. The show was built on the idea of a passionate team of friends working together. But Roger's story painted a picture of a cold business that treated a loyal elderly partner as disposable. This personal drama was for many even more damaging than the lawsuits. The Pierce Arrow case was about business ethics, but the Roger Barr situation was about character. It suggested that the friendship viewers saw on screen was just for the cameras. This revelation unraveled the very meaning of the show, and for many loyal fans, the trust was gone forever. The ultimate betrayal. Just when the story of the broken friendship seemed to have hit rock bottom, a new, even more painful accusation emerged. This time it came directly from Wayne Carini.